Thanks for joining. Good morning if it's morning for you with joining me. If it's not and you're doing this on replay, no matter what time of day, thank you for joining. Today is a little bit different for our movement improvement because we are going to focus on breathing. Something very important because we do it all day, every day, unconsciously, and we can do it consciously as well. So this is extremely important in our just regular day lives. It's also important in our training. Today we're going to be doing breathing as part of our, so we're going to go through a few practices. I'm going to explain and talk a little bit more about breathing, and then we will kind of practice certain things to see how our breathing is personally. So we're just going to wait till some people come on. I will be reading some of the notes I gave myself, so hopefully you don't mind. I'm not always going to be looking at the screen, but I do want to just kind of put a little disclaimer out there. So if you are someone who, you have low blood pressure or you're on medication to lower your blood pressure, I just want you to go through this practice with a little bit of caution because if you're pregnant, you could also maybe a little bit more cautious with this, because we will be doing some slow, deep breath breathing. So be mindful of how you feel. If there's ever, suggestion of a practice of breathing, take back and follow your own, wants and needs. Your body will tell you what you need, and don't try to overcome that. All right, so we're going to say hi to everyone who's coming on. Tracy, good morning. Thanks for joining. This is exciting. Hopefully you're excited. A little bit different today. And I'll give one more minute to go over the spiel again for everyone who's just joining. Good morning. I don't know if anyone else is feeling a lot of stress and tension this time of year, but I'm noticing it just for everyone I'm talking to. So I thought today would be a really good one to talk about our breathing and to kind of go through a few practices with breathing. So that is what today is about. So thanks for joining. We'll give one more minute. Go put my timer on. See if anyone else is joining. Hopefully you guys like this practice today. The idea of focusing on our breath. I'm gonna bring you a little closer. I feel so far away. But just, make sure that you're somewhere where it's comfortable. You're able to kind of sit up nice and tall, relaxing your shoulders. I'm kind of sitting with my shins crossed and I'm sitting on the couch. I have my back supported. Actually might get a little bit more of a back support here, just to kind of help lengthen my spine as I'm sitting and talking today. All right, so we got about 10 seconds. See if anyone else shows up this morning. If not, we're just gonna go through. And like I mentioned, I have some notes right below, so I might be going back and forth of looking at you guys and looking at my notes, kind of to help me explain our practice today. So part of a disclaimer for anyone who's just joining: if you are on low blood pressure medication, or you are, if we do a practice and you notice that your breathing rate is not within range, that might be a good time to consult a physician, especially if you're not already under a physician's care. If you're pregnant, if you're on low blood pressure medication, diabetes, just take some of these practices with caution. And just kind of, if you're prone to fainting, take these practices with caution. All right, good morning, Tracy. Good morning, Adam. That's just a little disclaimer before we start. A lot of tension right now, I feel like, that's going on in the world. So today's practice is about breathing. I'm going to be looking at my notes a lot. Take a deep breath. I need to take a deep breath. So we breathe consciously, unconsciously, all the time. And it's a really good way to understand how our emotions are playing out in the world. So how we breathe affects how we live, vice versa. Things like stress, our posture even, and our exercise influence our breath. And we have the power to reclaim that breath. We have the power to reclaim how we breathe, to vice versa affect our stress, our posture, our exercise. So today we're going to go through a few different things so we can help take control of our breathing and our mental and physical well-being and our performance. And we are going to start with number one. We need to create an awareness. If we don't know that we're having tension, if we don't know that we're starting to breathe a little bit heavier, if we're having these anxious thoughts, we won't know that we need to have and interrupt those thoughts, interrupt that breathing pattern, and create a new breathing pattern to kind of help relax us. Otherwise, we're always going to be in this parasympathetic or in our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight, flight, and or it's fight, flight, something else. I forget, another F. So wherever you are, I want you just close your eyes, and it's early morning, so I understand. I want you just to simply notice how you're breathing right now. Try not to change it. Just try to just close your eyes and bring that awareness internally. You can tune me out if you'd like. And when you become more aware of any tension you might have in your body. Do you have tension in your face, your neck, your jaw, your shoulders, your lower back? Without changing anything, I just want you to bring that awareness internally and see how you're feeling. Kind of just do a little scan. And as you're doing that, I want you just to be aware of your mental state right now. How did you wake up feeling refreshed? Did you wake up feeling anxious about projects that you have to do today? Did you wake up, anything, any stress, anxiety about your to-do list? Did you not get good sleep? And we're just going to go through a quick practice here. So, sorry, I have my notes with me, so bear with me. But, so our quick practice is, I want you to just, as you are, continue to just notice how you're feeling, how you're breathing. But I want you to start counting your breaths. All right. So when I'm going to tell you go, I want you to then start counting how many times you inhale, and just count the inhale. Go with your natural breathing that you're doing right now. And I'm going to tell you when to stop counting. And if you want, comment in the comment box with how many breaths you did. So we're going to start our counting. You can close your eyes in 3, 2, 1. Start counting your inhales. If you're already on an exhale, that's okay. Close your eyes, and we're just going to breathe in at our normal breath. Try not to change anything on purpose. And relax. We're going to stop our counting. And if you'd like to type them in the comments, please do so. And I'm just going to share some information. This was 1 minute, and we counted how many breaths we did in that 1 minute. You might know that when you go to the doctor's office, they kind of see how your pulse rate. This was to see our breath rate. So the way we breathe can either help us calm down or set us up for injury, actually, or even improve our health and wellness. So 8, 11. All right, great. So, and I know it's early in the morning, so our breath might be different now than it is at different times of the day. So if you want to repeat that exercise, and I'll share with you some other information. So the average adult breathes 16 to 20 times per minute. So if you remember your count, which I think you just do, if you don't fall within that range, that's okay. Slowing down our respiratory rate to about 6 to 8 times per minute, which some of us are already at, will enhance many areas of our life. And it's okay if you're at the higher range. Don't feel like that's anything bad. Just take a few minutes in a day to make, it just takes a few times to kind of make that change more permanent. So when we wake up, to have that slower heart rate, to kind of feel like we're breathing. Just some fun tidbits. We breathe an average 8 million times per year. So it's another way, we're doing this so often, that's another way that we can practice to improve the function of how we breathe, to kind of create a positive impact on everything we do. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into that, and then we're going to test our breathing. So the first part is the mechanics of breathing. Yes, there is a mechanical way of how we breathe that we should kind of be aware of. So before we even go into that, I want you to just put one hand, still sleeping, put one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. And I want you just to notice where in your body you feel your breath expanding first. So if you want to close your eyes, you can do that as well. I want you to feel where in your body, what rises first. Is it your rib cage or is it your chest? Is it the sides? Is it your shoulders raising up? And we're going to talk about that right now. So if you breathe through your chest, if you're naturally breathing into your chest first, you're considered a shallow breather, right? It's not optimal. And if you do that, don't worry. You're not alone. I do this often. Many times when I'm just, you're breathing, you just breathe into that chest. But it doesn't allow that optimal oxygen to come in and flow through our lungs. So if you are a belly breather and your rib cage opens when you're sitting up nice and tall and you notice that you're breathing through your belly, then I'm yawning so much just because we're practicing all this breath. So if you're breathing through your belly, you're considered a diaphragmatic breather. And this maximizes our potential of oxygen to energize our body, because we're allowing more oxygen intake into our body by opening up our diaphragms. And that is actually so these are muscles. We actually aren't breathing. It's not the breath that comes in that expands our rib cage. It's our rib cage that we are using. These muscles all around, including our back, is what allows breath to come into the body. So if we are not using the muscles of our body correctly, that air doesn't expand those lungs. They're directly attached. So the more I'm breathing that rib cage down, the more I'm pressing air from the lungs, it's pressing it out. The more I open it up, it's kind of, I don't have a good analogy right now, but it's allowing all the air to be rushed into the body, into those lungs as we expand that rib cage open. So that's just a quick tidbit. And also our nasal breathing, if we're breathing through our nose or through our mouth, has different benefits. We want to, ideally breathing through our nose for many reasons, but sometimes even our relaxed jaw. It doesn't mean that we're breathing through our mouth, but a relaxed jaw helps when we're attempting to create new breathing patterns because it's relaxing the muscles up top, relaxing the jaw, relaxing the neck, relaxing the shoulders, kind of relax any tension in that chest. So allow us to use the muscles of our rib cage to open up and breathe. Part of the reason that nasal breathing is great is because of how it is, our body's kind of made. It's kind of structured. It just opens up and gives the most intense way of getting the most oxygen intake, as well as all our nasal hairs also helps act as a natural filter. So that's also very important for the quality of air that we're breathing and making sure that we have any filtration instead of our mouth. We can kind of choke on something when you get something in the back of your throat. So you want to just try both. Try, if you want to right now, hand on your chest, hand on your rib cage, and just see which one feels good for you. Ooh. Sorry, I'm gonna make everyone yawn. Well, which one feels good for you, which one doesn't? So if try breathing through your chest, try breathing through your rib cage. See how each of those feels. When you breathe through your chest, you're kind of lifting those shoulders sometimes, breathing through like right at the base of that neck. It's very shallow. The breath kind of just stops right mid-chest. It doesn't go lower. It's a lot shorter of a breath. And I want you to try it by breathing in through your mouth, first breathing in through your nose. And I want you to see how that feels. And then we're going to do the same thing, vice versa. 1, keep your hands where they are. Breathing through the rib cage. Is there a secret to breathing through the rib cage? We can practice that. So if you're sitting up, it might be something that's easier for you if you're laying on your back, actually. You can keep your knees bent, you can keep your feet together and your knees wide like a butterfly position, and continue to have the hand on your shoulder and your rib cage. And you know what, another thing, if you feel any pain as you breathe, like in your lower back, your mid back, it's another good reason or area of why we want to kind of maybe foam roll those different areas, or just pay attention and stretch those areas a little bit more. Do some of our exercises that we've done, our T-spine rotation, and kind of help open up, because that helps and does affect our breathing. So doing the vice versa, we're going to breathe down into our rib cage through our nose. And try to do it through your mouth and see which one works for you, or which one you feel is more natural to you, and which one you do, or which one you actually like now if it's not the same one. All right, so now that we've practiced that, we can keep our hands, one hand's on the chest, one hand on the rib cage. And we're just going to get in a comfortable position. So if that is laying down, that's okay. Just kind of follow along. If not, if you're sitting up nice and tall, that's okay as well. We're going to breathe through our nose. Oh, I'm so sorry. All this breathing is making me, wake up, and that's why I'm yawning. But we're going to breathe through that nose. And what you feel as the air goes through the nostrils, up into the back of our throat, down in our esophagus, and reach towards our belly. I want us to feel just the breath and just the air as we breathe through the nose. And exhale, I want you to feel that hot air coming up and out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, down the throat, down into the belly, and exhale hot air out through the mouth. Again, inhale and exhale. So you might notice that by just focusing on the air coming in and out, that your rib cage is rising. If not, I want you to think about breathing down into the lungs. We have lungs that go all the way down into the rib cage. A rib cage kind of protects those lungs and kind of mimics that shape. Now I want you to feel it go into a 3D effect. It's not just breathing forward, but we breathe in a 3-dimensional way. So we're breathing, our rib cage expands to the sides, expands forward, and it even expands through our lower back. Our rib cage expands in all different dimensions, expanding open and exhaling out. And I want you to just practice that a few times. And then we're going to talk just quickly about posture before we go into another practice. So as you were practicing, we're talking about our rib cage opening and expanding. Our posture matters because if we are sitting at our desk and we're crunching that rib cage down at the bottom, we have that rounded back, do you feel like you're going to be able to open up those lungs and get that good diaphragmatic breathing? No, you're not, because you're crunching already and already doing that exhale where the rib cage is coming and closing in on each other. It's not going to be more possible for us to bring in as much oxygen as we need. And that's important, especially when we are doing our work and we are sitting down and doing our work. We want that oxygen, helps keep us awake, helps keep us focused. You know, it's sending oxygen not just through our whole body, but to our brains. So having good posture also helps relieve the stress and tension. So if we are shrugged forward, we're kind of having this tension of our neck forward, we're having that rounded back, it can create more anxiousness or that, tension where we start, now we're starting to breathe even faster and we're doing that slow, deep breath. So now they're both going into this anxious cycle that we don't want. We want that relaxed, good tempo breathing. So when our posture, I kind of just went through that. I don't think I have anything else to add. But when we're stressed, we're in that fight or flight mode and response, and we can respond. We respond that way when we're in danger or in times of like overwhelm or and it's something that we can turn on, and we can also turn off. But it also spikes our respiratory rate. It makes us start breathing a lot faster just because of us being in stress. But our posture can also, it's a vice versa. So posture can create the stress, or our stress creates us being into that posture, and it affects our breathing, which creates more stress. When we breathe in, or we'll get into that actually. And then even just our regular movement throughout the day, our breathing rate will increase during exercise as usual, as of course I'm sure you experience, which is not a bad thing. We're saying as we're sitting and our breathing increases when we're stressed, but when we're during exercise, we are in a state of stress, but it is a healthy stress. If you have been following us along, we posted, I think, Monday about healthy stress on our workplace post. So there is such thing as healthy stress. Exercise is one of those. So it's okay. It helps, we still are doing that diaphragmatic breathing. We're just increasing the respiratory rates. And just gonna blow through some of that here. So a lot of different fun activities. We're just gonna end on I just want to share with you that there's different breathing techniques. Like I mentioned before, if we're stressed, we're anxious, there's breathing techniques that, one, we have to be aware of those. And then we have to interrupt that time and then create a new breathing pattern, which will then in turn, help create a different posture. It will help create a different feeling of relaxation in the body. We can also do the same thing another way. So if we wake up being really tired, which is something I should have done before I did this video. I'm sorry, I keep talking and breathing and it's interesting. So there's also a breathing pattern to kind of help you if you wake up tired and how to kind of feel more vitalized, increase that breath, just like how exercise would, except without having to move your body. It's just breathing that kind of helps, gets the blood flowing, gets the oxygen, gets the respiratory rate up. So there's different ones if you wake up tired, and I can share this below with a little chart. It is so we always do an inhale, a hold, and an exhale. If we wake up tired, it is a 6 count inhale, a 2 count exhale, and then a very explosive exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale. Sorry. Inhale 6, hold for 2, explosive exhale, and then immediately in that inhale. So you're going a little bit faster, and you'll end up doing a lot more respiratories rates in a minute. For just regular deep breathing, it's always good to start with a 5x5, or you can even do, that's a 5, hold 5, and then breathe out 5. There's also, you can do a 4, 2, and 6. That's breathing in for 4 counts, hold for 2, and then exhale for 6. And then in general, it also works like before meals to kind of relax us just a little bit, but not too much where we're kind of going to sleep. So in times where we feel anxious, or we have moments of anxiety, or we're meditating, or even before bedtime, we're going to try this practice. So I'm not trying to put you back to sleep, but we're going to try this practice where we're going to learn and count and try to do a 6, 4, 10 breathing. So this is something we've posted on our workplace before. I created like a nice pretty image you can follow along where you breathe in, hold, exhale. So if you want to, you can also find that as well on our post, and you just have to type in the search button and type in breathing. But this tempo helps ease our nervous system and brings a state of calm and relaxation. And we can try it for a minute, 2 minutes, whatever works for you. I love doing it before bedtime or in moments of stress. If it's for you, it's really great to, follow along with an image or just that counting. I highly recommend that you are seated. Do not do this while standing up. You want to make sure that you're either seated or you're lying down. And that way if you do become a little bit lightheaded, you're not going to fall down, and you can kind of go back to your regular breathing. So before we begin, I want you just to notice how you're breathing right now. Hopefully it's on a different, more relaxed breathing than I am currently. And I'm going to just pull up my breathing exercise to help guide us through today. So we're just going to sit up nice and tall, or laying down if you're laying down. You can keep one hand on your rib cage, one hand on your chest if you want to just notice where you're breathing and kind of practice, that diaphragmatic breathing. And however you are right now, I want you just to notice where that breath is going, how your lungs expand and relax. Breathing through the nose. Closing your eyes if you haven't done so already. I want you to notice if you already have a natural pause after that inhale before you exhale. Relax the jaw. Allow your mouth to open so that exhale goes through the mouth, not just through the nose. And together, We're going to breathe in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Breathe normal. Relax your breath. Bring that breath back to normal. This is difficult. You know, it's not something easy, especially on that exhale. If you force that breath out too early, too soon, and you didn't do it nice and slow, then you might feel by the time it was like 6, you were ready to breathe in. So we want to make sure that we're breathing in nice and slow through the bottom of our lungs all the way up, holding that breath in, which actually that holding of the breath creates its own stress response in the body. And then we have that nice long exhale, and that's our parasympathetic nervous system kind of coming down. It's calling that rest and digest, relax and calm, to kind of help calm after, and we're practicing that hold, that stress and that tension. And then we relax afterwards. And we're practicing by doing the exhale after the hold, practices that relaxation and that response to stress naturally. So we're holding everything in. We can relax. Exhale, breathe it out. Let it go. All right, so that is today's practice again. If you would like to try and practice it again, maybe 2 or 3 times, we can do that as well. If you felt like you were rushing through it. If not, you can go about your day. You can try it with, like I mentioned before, if you're feeling like you need to wake up, you can do a quick 6 count in, hold for 2, and then exhale nice and hard out, very explosive exhale, and then breathe back in for 6, 2, exhale, 6, 2, exhale. So if you'd like to kind of change up your breathing, if you'd like to stay on and do the 6, 4, 10 breathing, we're going to go through it 2 more times, just like 2 sets, not the full 4. I want you to, try to figure out how, thank you for joining, see how you did the first time. If you want to kind of redo it, where you can try and practice that 10 all the way through to 10, the exhale, then we're going to go through it again right now. Just want to give some time where you're breathing normal before you go back into that 6, 4, 10 breathing. And you can do this up to a minute or 2 minutes. All works for you. So again, getting into your comfortable position if you got out. Hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. Breathing normal. Notice how you pause between your inhale and your exhale. And we're going to breathe in nice and slow for 6, hold for 4, and exhale nice and slow through the mouth for 10. We're going to do that twice. So breathing in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, breathe normal. So just those 2 times. On that exhale, you want to squeeze everything out like you would do, and you would wring like a sponge. You want to squeeze everything out. And that's how we kind of get to that 10 sometimes. And then we're ready to allow that inhale back in and expand the lungs. So Adam asked earlier, is there a secret to breathing through your rib cage? This might be a secret that works for you. Please let us know if that helped you breathe better through your rib cage or not by doing this practice. And that's all I have for us today. So thanks for joining. Something a little bit different. And yeah, we'll talk later. So thanks for joining. Have a good one. Happy Wednesday.